Welcome back. Another answer key, section C, prose short stories, questions 4 and 5. Question 4 is from All Summer in a Day by Ray Douglas Bradbury. Just have a look at the extract given in the question. The questions now, along with the answers. How old were they? Where were they living? What had they been doing until the girl called their attention to the raindrop? 3 marks. 3 questions, 3 marks. Write accordingly. The children were 9 years old. How old were they? Finished. The answer is complete. No need to write anything else. Where were they living? They were living on the planet Venus with their families. Again, move on to the next question now. What had they been doing until the girl called their attention to the raindrop? The question's answer. The children exited the tunnels and began to run around and enjoy the sun. They began to run around and enjoy the sun. They looked at everything and savored everything. Then, wildly, like animals escaped from their caves, they ran and ran in shouting circles. They ran for an hour and did not stop running. The concept of running is key here. They were running, they were enjoying themselves, and in the midst of the running, the girl called their attention to the raindrop. So what were they doing? They were running and running and running, enjoying themselves. Observe how I framed this answer. After this, question 2, mention any three ways of your choice in which their lives on this planet, that is planet Venus, different from life on Earth. 3 marks. The first way, the first point, planet Venus was a gloomy, sunless world of constant rain. On Earth, it did not rain always. So, these children did not see the sun often. In fact, they were just 2 years old when they first saw the sun for perhaps an hour. So, this is the first difference between the lives of these children on planet Venus and the lives of the children who live on Earth. Next point, these children on planet Venus seldom enjoyed the warmth of the sun, and since there was no sun, they did not enjoy the warmth of the sun, unlike the children on the Earth. Third one, these children did not have a memory of the color of it and the way it really was. What did the sun look like when they saw it for the first time as small children? How did it look like? Well, they did not have any memory of the sun, the color of it. The children on Earth, however, did not face such a problem because the sun is a quite common phenomenon in Earth. Question 3. Why does the girl begin to cry when she looks at the raindrop? 3 marks. The girl begins to cry looking at the raindrop. The very moment that the brief period of happiness ends, she reverts to a deeper sadness than she felt before the appearance of the sun. So, before the appearance of the sun, she was really sad and waiting anxiously to see the sun, and after the sun appeared, she was really happy. But when she saw the rainfall, when she saw the raindrop, she became sad once again. It was just a brief moment, brief period of happiness. And the ending of this brief period of happiness makes her sad and she begins to cry. Her hopes crumble as the rain starts. This means 7 years of continuous rainfall once again. What are the key words here? Brief period of happiness ends, deeper sadness, hopes crumble, and this is how you write your answer. These are the basic key elements which need to be mentioned in your answer. Describe the dramatic change in the weather immediately after the raindrop fell. 3 marks. Suddenly, the rain returned in force and the sky darkened with thunder after the falling of a few cold drops. The sun faded behind the stir of mist. A wind blew cold around the children. Lightning struck 10 miles away, 5 miles away, a mile, a half mile. The dramatic transition is summed up by the description of the sky darkening into midnight in a flash. Again, a compact answer including all the points. The next question, what feelings do they experience at the end of the story? You will have to specifically mention the feelings of the children, the feelings which they experience at the end of the story. After rejoicing in the sun, the malice seems to have washed away. The malice seems to wash away. Malice, hatred, jealousy, anger, they feel remorse and shame and slowly let Margot out. What are the feelings? Particular feelings, remorse and shame. They perhaps will have a better understanding in future. They perhaps will develop a little bit more maturity in future and Margot will be accepted as one of them. What had they done earlier? They searched about Margot, caught her and locked her up in a dark tunnel and forgot all about her till the sun appeared and disappeared. They slammed the door without paying any heed, without listening to Margot's pleas, her requests and muffled cries. Then smiling, they turned and went out and back down the tunnel just as the teacher arrived. What they had done earlier, and then at the end of the story, they realized their mistake and their feelings changed. The next question, question 5. The Little Match Girl by Hans Christian Andersen. Look at the screen. The passage is there. Just go through the passage and we will discuss the answers. Question 1. Who was she? The word she referred to a poor little girl who walked bareheaded and barefoot through the streets in the cold and gloomy weather of New Year's Eve. My dear students, many students make the mistake of using double F while writing referred. Check the spelling of referred, R-E-F-E-R-R-E-D, and reference, R-E-F-E-R-E-N-C-E. Do not make this mistake. The word she referred to a poor little girl who walked bareheaded and barefoot, her condition. You will get a clue about her condition from these descriptions. Through the streets in the cold and gloomy weather of New Year's Eve. And now, what can you conclude about her condition from this description? She is very poor. Her poverty-stricken condition must be highlighted. She is very poor and does not have proper clothing to keep herself warm. She is all alone. The second point, on such a night when people were busy enjoying themselves. It was New Year's Eve and most of the people were inside their homes enjoying the warmth and comfort of their households. And here we had this little girl who was on the streets all alone, exposed to the bitter cold. She presented the picture of misery, shivering and hunger. Here I have quoted from the text. Read the text thoroughly and use small quotations whenever required. Question 2, a very basic question. What time of the year was it? It was the last evening of the old year. It was New Year's Eve. And why did she not want to go home? She did not dare to go home for she had sold no matches and had not earned a single penny. This was the first reason. The second reason, her father would surely beat her, and besides it was very cold. The third reason, at home, for they had nothing but the roof about them and the wind whistled through that. No proper shelter, no proper clothing, no slippers, all alone, a life devoid of love. The father used to beat her very badly. So her condition was pitiable as well as miserable. What did she use the matches for? She used the matches to keep her almost numb and cold fingers warm. The key words here, numb and cold fingers and warm. What happened when she lit the first match? She held her hands over the warm, bright flame which gave a strange light. The word warm is significant. The first match, it seemed, had become an iron stove and she was finally comfortable, very important, finally comfortable sitting by this fire. Soon the match spluttered out and the first vision vanished. Whom did she love dearly? The little match girl's recently deceased, dead. The little match girl's recently deceased grandmother was dearly loved by her. And what did she say when this person appeared before her? She requested her grandmother. Use the term requested here. She requested her grandmother to take her with her, and knowing that she would disappear just like the warm stove, the goose and the Christmas tree, the girl burnt the rest of her matches so her grandmother could not leave. The fifth question, what happened to the little girl at the end of the story? Would you consider this a happy ending or a sad one? Your standpoint is required. Give one reason for your answer. Justify your standpoint with reason, arguments. What happened to the girl? The little girl's body was discovered with all of her matches used up the next day. Very specific to the point answer. Having frozen to death. Another very important point on the last evening of the old year. Her face was flushed and she was smiling. Would you consider this a happy ending or a sad one? My personal opinion, this is perhaps a happy ending. I will now justify why this is perhaps a happy ending. The little girl is finally free of the suffering, finally free, that she has lived with her for her entire life as a result of poverty. It is a new beginning, of course, for her, and in her afterlife she will be blessed by God and live happily with her grandmother. This is the justification. Dear students, here I come to the end of this session, and we will soon meet when I will discuss section D, the poetry section.